You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Monster Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. YHS on Monster Island. This is the first time we've started to record this episode tonight. I am here with my co-host, Jay Key. Jay, how's it going, dude?
It's going well, yes. You know, the second time is hopefully the charm here. But it's good. It's always great to be here with you, my friend, talking kaiju and an interesting movie we're going to talk about because, you know, it probably wasn't one of our first choices. It didn't make year one, but now that we're officially in our second year of YHS on Monster Island, why not start with such a, I don't even know. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to say a good, bad, or indifferent film. We're just going to start with Frankenstein Conquers the World.
There you go. Frankenstein Conquers the World. I also won't say anything. We'll get into it when we get into it. But first of all, we'll talk about pickups. Jay, I know the week was light. I have absolutely nothing to show off. You know what? Hold on. This is why I don't have anything to show off because my world is full of pre-orders at the moment, and Sideshow has taken a hold of me in a sometime late last year. I got on Sideshow and I bought a bunch of pre-ordered a bunch of hot toy, like Star Wars hot toys and stuff like that. And I got one, but then, you know, I ordered has nothing to do with kaiju, but I'm telling you. No
worries. But it has to do with
I ordered a R2D2, the deluxe R2D2 Sideshow figure, and it was supposed to have shipped in November, but they're gonna take my final. They just took my final payment, and because they're just arriving in the warehouse, so that's coming. But now they're starting taking the money for the next pre-order that's not going to be released for like another 6 months. There's kaiju stuff that I have on pre-order, but the big thing is that I'm going to Star Wars Celebration in a couple weeks here, and I literally had to put an autograph on a payment plan.
Whoa!
Because some people's autographs cost more than an X Plus figure.
Can I ask who it is? Are you allowed to spoil it?
I got on that Ewan McGregor list, and you know, I'm going to tell you, I almost didn't do it because part of me was like, you know, I love Star Wars, but my Star Wars collecting is very different. Mm-hmm. I don't collect, you know, the current toys. I buy I buy a lot of Ewok stuff just because I like the Ewoks.
Yeah.
I buy like hot toys and lightsaber, like, you know, 1/1 scale lightsabers. I don't have a lot of like the Black Series, the stuff that's in the stores now. I just don't buy a lot of that stuff, and I don't care. And as far as the autographs, I like them, but there's only certain people that I really care to spend all that money on. But they announced Ewan McGregor, and that's a big name, and he's not doing a lot. And you know, the Obi-Wan show's about to come out. But what got me was that I was at Craig's house, and you know, a couple months back, we were at a convention, and the actors who played Jack and Wendy Torrance in Dr. Sleep were at the convention. We got their autographs, and Craig got Jack and Wendy's autograph both on like a Dr. Sleep poster. I was like, hey, Craig, let me buy that poster from you, and that's what I'm going to get you and McGregor. Just like, I'm not even going to get him to sign anything Star Wars. I'm going to get him to sign Dr. Sleep because Stephen King beats out Star Wars to me. Yeah. So
that's amazing. You know, that's one of those things that's like, I bet you a lot of those, and once again, not kaiju related, a lot of the guys that signed that are known for either, not that Ewan McGregor's only known for one thing, but like, obviously he's at Star Wars Celebration, and you know, it is a pretty big role in Star Wars. But like with some of the actors that do the conventions, I bet you they love it when they see people come up there with something that might not be on topic for that specific convention
Right.
or whatever. I did a toy show recently with Toku Toy Town, and Dirk Benedict from the A-Team and Battlestar Galactica was there. And I had my lovely wife go up and get an autograph for one of my good friends, who non-ironically, his favorite movie is Body Slam, the wrestling movie with Roddy Piper and stuff from the 80s. And Dirk Benedict plays Harry Smilak. So my wife, who does not know who he is, anything, goes up the longest line at the convention, maybe besides the Jason David Frank, but she goes up and with this album from the 1980s that's the Body Slam wrestling album, and he like flips out. It's like, this is amazing. I've never seen this before. It's my favorite role. And we had people come up to us at our booth later saying like they apparently are big fans and follow Dirk Benedict around at these conventions. Like they've never seen him so excited. So maybe you and McGregor will do the same thing with you, and you could have this big moment and y'all become best friends.
Hey, probably not.
Come on, YHS.
Probably not, but sure. It was a moment where I was like, I know these are going to sell out, and if I don't get this, and all my friends are getting, I better do it. So I just
they'll point at you and laugh at you your whole life. So
the funniest thing though is when I went to pay for it. The Star Wars Celebration website has like a firm set up, which is like a payment plan thing. So when I signed up for that, it sent me an email, and it was like your loan for Star Wars Celebration merchandise has been approved. And I'm like, that's the funniest email I've ever gotten in my life.
Oh wow, the things we do in this wacky world, man.
I know, so dumb. Anyway,
I know we were going to go to toys real quick, but actually, because when you're talking about Star Wars and we're talking about movies, it actually made me think: have you watched any kaiju movies or any monster-y movies lately?
No, I haven't. I really, I've been meaning to sit down, and I got a couple. I tried to find. So I've never seen any Kamen Rider anything. Never seen any of it, but I do know that one of the movies was like really dark and kind of more horror-ish, and I've seen a lot of pictures from it, and I tried to I had a bug, and I was like, I want to watch this movie, and I looked for it, and I could not find it anywhere to stream or to download or to rent or anything. I just couldn't find it. So it's maybe out there, but I was like, it took me forever to find out, which movie it was and all that, but no, man, I haven't watched anything. I have been meaning to also sit down and watch the rest of the Daimajin films because I do own them, and I've seen the first one a few times, and I love it.
It's a great movie.
But I have not seen the sequels. So.
And he's getting a Bandai figure. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, that's what was making me think about it. That, and he's showing up in a new film, which
one of the yokai ones.
Yeah, one of the yokai films, and I keep seeing some stuff from that, and I'm like, I need to go back and watch all three of those. But other than that, man, other than a rewatch of the movie we're going to talk about, no, dude.
Yeah, I'm still holding true. I think that you will actually like the original, like the first Kamen Rider. Yes, cheesy 70s stuff, but just because like you could tell that it's grounded more in like a horror element. Like it's not terrifying by any means, but like because it's still a early Tokusatsu show, but you can just tell like the driving force, like deep down, that's where they're coming from compared to Super Sentai or even Ultraman and stuff where it's more sci-fi driven or whatever. I like I said, I really think that, and you love practical effects, even ratty costumes, the effort and stuff. You appreciate that as an artist. I think Kamen Rider might be the original. I think you would dig it. But for me, no, I've been like I mentioned in our last episode, I've been really kind of going back watching a lot of Ultra 7. The second, the third Ultra series because Ultra Q, but and I've just been digging it, man. I love those stories. I think they're really good. And I'll stick to the Ultraman has better kaiju, has better monsters, but Ultra 7 I think has better stories. And I don't know, it's been great. And then other than that, I mean, I don't know. It's not a kaiju movie, but it does have big giant worms in it. And I did watch the remake of Dune recently. And And I'm late to the game, I know, and I love Dune. I mean, Jodorowsky's Dune, the documentary on the Dune movie that was never made, is literally one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Wow,
and my favorite.
I haven't seen that documentary.
It is just beyond fascinating. Jodorowsky's Dune and probably King of Kong might be my 2 favorite documentaries of all time.
I've seen that one.
And what a great struggle of good and evil in that one. Billy Mitchell against Steve Levy. But anyway, but I do love, and the David Lynch,
I got some of Billy Mitchell's hot sauce once, and it's not great.
Oh yeah. Well, one of my favorite things in the world was I had, when I was doing some of the Duke LaGrange stuff, some of my early, like when I was getting Twitter built up and stuff. I did have Billy Mitchell retweet one of my tweets, and I was like, yes, am I a bad guy now? But I said something like writing, I wished all antagonists in books could be as well done as Billy Mitchell, the greatest villain of all time, or something. Anyway, but I even appreciate the bad, David Lynch Dune and the 80s Dune. But I just, because of kids and things, like I didn't have the ability to go see it, and I finally had some time, and I was like, I finally can watch. It's been weighing on me, dude, because I like Dune. I mean, I read the books many moons ago. I read the first one, and as dense as it is, but I really love the movie. I thought it was great. But I mean, I love the sandworms, and they're great. And so that would be the only other movie with giant monsters. Even though they're indigenous to the planet, and we can have that conversation. They are a 80 meter, 180 meter, whatever it is, giant worms. So, but that movie was great. I thought it was wonderful. I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, man. That I saw that in the theater, and I think that's the way to go for a movie like that. But I don't, I've seen the original Dune. I have not read the book. Hal Clay gave me a copy because he really wants me to read it, but it's not right in front of me, so I haven't picked it up yet. But I like that movie a lot too. I feel like, hey, do I know what all was happening? No. Do I care? No, because it's awesome. So
no, I would definitely watch the bad 80s one, and then watch Jodorowsky's Dune, and just to kind of it's amazing. It's just amazing.
It's been a while, but I've seen the 80s version. I have seen it. So
nice. Yeah, it's
all I knew going in was that there were worms, and that's all I cared. That's all I cared about, honestly.
Worms and spice, yeah. But no, that's really it. So I mean, the modern Dune and Ultra 7, not very similar, but that's been kind of my viewing. Yeah, but that's good. That keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. Yeah, dude, nothing else here. So and like I said, no toys for me. Nothing's come in this week. But I know you got something. What do you save this segment, Jay? What do you got?
I got one normal size pickup and one small one, but both are very cool. So the small one is from an independent toy company called Ish Toys, Justin Ishmael.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably are very familiar because he does a lot of cool stuff that would be right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love, because you and I both, and I think probably 99% of people that love kaiju love Ray Harryhausen, and he does a lot of cool stuff with the Cyclops from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. And I got one of his latest releases designed by famed Japanese sculptor Pico Pico. And that would be the Cyclops in this cool fade. They call it the colossal fade. So look at him there. So he looks normal, but it's like he's fading away into translucent. To me, I was thinking like Back to the Future. It's just fading away in his. I
want to buy that right now.
It's really cool.
So cool, man.
Yeah, it's so well done and well painted, and I just thought
that's beautiful, man. That's such a good sculpt. I know he does a lot of those, but that is such a good. Dude, what's crazy is like, and what's crazy to me is like, last episode we talked about the Valley of Gwanji X Plus figure, and since then I've been doing so much looking at all the all across the board of all the Harryhausen figures that are out there, and I'm like, whoa, it's starting to like dig into my brain. Like I'm gonna end up with a Harryhausen corner here. That's a beautiful toy, man.
Yeah, I was very excited, and it was it's about 4, maybe 4.25 inches, so it's a smaller one, kind of in that max toy range. You could hide him in with your Narangas and not Narangas. I'm sorry, your Nagoras. Narangas. You tell I'm watching some Ultraman.
Yeah,
Nagora. And he can fight the giant cat kaiju. It's about that size, that in scale with them. But they do good stuff, and I'm going to put him up there with my Rocom Death Jaguar, my Michael Morse Big Boji, and some of the other independent stuff I did. Oh, the Max Toy Gerald Akamura, of course. So build up this little kind of more indie designer one as well. Yeah, and then the other thing I got, I'm just trying to finish off that Bio Goji collection, right? The Marasan 350. And I finally broke down and got the original one, the one I never had, the first release, the classic. So I got just the classic blue, green, sea green, whatever you want to call it.
Beautiful
Bio Goji there. Yeah, I mean,
what number is that? Is that 15 for you or 16?
Let me see. I do have some on the way, so I think my next pickup on our next show will be better. Let's see. I have 5, 9, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is number 20.
20.
I have 20 of these bad boys.
Well, that's an amazing. I'm jealous of every one of those I see, Jay. I don't know what else I can say about that collection. It's great.
Yeah, I love it. And it's one of those, and we talked about this as nobody could be a completist in sofubi collecting, but if I'm trying to get all of these, and I still get giddy and happy and joyous when new ones are released. I wish they wouldn't release them as frequently, but I still get excited.
Hey, not 5 at a time, maybe.
Yeah, I still can't find those. The ones I didn't get.
Do one every 6 months or something, not 5 at a time.
I know, right?
They're too expensive for that.
They are, and I am getting the Cherry Blossom one that's coming. That is really cool. That's coming out. And then I have a couple of the new glitter ones that are coming. I didn't get all of them though, so we'll be on the hunt. So it'll be the collection is continuing to grow, but just funny that the 20th one I got was the first one released.
Yeah, I love that.
But that's it, man. But you know what? It won't save the segment, but if you'll allow me, as the president of Monster Island, as the controller of Monster Island, I don't know your official title. Speaking of toys. Everybody knows I do have this little side gig called Toku Toy Town, and I am so pumped because on Sunday this week, so 5/1, May 1st at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, I will be joining one of the top dogs in the kaiju selling community, Kaiju Live, AJ Russo, Frank Russo, his father, the Russo clan, and we're doing a 4-hour live stream, and we're going to do 40 auctions. And we're going to have some of the coolest toys. They have such a great reputation. They are truly gold standard. We love them. And I think it's just cool in our community that two, quote unquote competitors are coming together and saying, hey, we both have so much cool stuff that doesn't overlap because there's so much Godzilla and kaiju stuff out there. Let's put it all together and let's done for 4 hours and just chat and talk to the wonderful people that pop in and out of the chat with ourselves. We're very, very different styles of collectors and, different parts of the country and, different focus areas. And I think it's going to be so cool. I'm so excited. But I did bring a few teasers of some of the stuff that's going to be there. Now, I did say, unless you are part of the Toku Toy Town email list, you subscribe to the site, you're not going to know it until the auction. I'm going to send out a note on Friday in 2 days with what I'm going to be auctioning off because it's kind of a little bit of a surprise. But I'm going to spoil it and show a couple of them here because I'm just going to get your initial thoughts. So
let's do it.
One of the cool things, so it's going to be some really cool marmots. I have like 4 or 5 really cool marmot pieces, some rarer stuff. And how about this bad boy? You're going to have a chance to auction or to bid on the Marmot Gabara.
Ooh.
Look at this guy.
Look at him.
I mean,
looks better than he does in the film.
No electricity, though. He does not.
No electricity.
But he is pretty amazing. So the Marmot there, but even rarer than that. And I have this guy in my personal collection as well. I think he's one of the coolest. I think it's one of the. And speaking of looking better than he did in the movie, even though he looked okay in the movie, the Marmot 98.
Yeah, I'm buying this.
Amerigoji. There he is, the American Godzilla. That. Yeah, Marmot really killed it. Oh, but that's not all. We'll talk about this a little bit when we get to the news because they released a new variant of this. But Bandai, another one of their mini brand extensions because they have so many. They did either, I don't know if it's Fantasy Toys or Fantasy, but there's 3 Z's in there. 3,
Whoa,
not 2.
Too many
Z's.
Z's. Too many Z's in one word.
And they're doing toys and apparel.
Toys with a Z.
Toys with 3 Z's. Toys. Yeah. And they released the smog monster here, Hedera, in this crazy bright pink.
That looks like somebody threw up.
No, this thing is not easy to track.
That's making
down.
my eyes hurt, Jay. Don't look that thing in the eyes.
Oh no, it is going to be cross-eyed, but this thing is really cool. And talking about standing out on any shelf, I don't care what you have up there. You put that thing on there, they're like, yeah, I noticed it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hedera, so this year, and I don't have it with me, but I might have a Gigan Lucky Bag 50th anniversary from Marson, the Sparkle Glitter Gigan with all the fun goodies in the Lucky Bag. But last year, Hedera's 50th. They also did a Lucky Bag, a Godzilla Store exclusive, came with a t-shirt, which I have, came with the Godzilla Store bag, which is in there. And I love this. This is a little bit of a unique colorway. It's very segmented. This amazing Marson 350 Godzilla Store Lucky Bag Hedera. Now, it's this two-tone.
It looks like a melted candle that I want to eat.
It does. Or an ice cream cone or something. But you can't see it here. But there's actually multicolored flaking in there, and it's, you won't be able to see it in the screen, but there's like multicolored little glitter on this this kind of light blue thing. It is a really impressive figure close up, but I love it. Well, it looks like its brain's made of lava there. Really cool piece.
It looks like a Baby Bell cheese thing, and then you peel it off.
Yes, I do not recommend eating these.
Don't eat.
And then the last thing, which I saved this one for last and there'll be I have 20 items, so I'm not going to show them all.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But one that I think would be good in this segment on, because I know you love Bailanté, and I know you respect the flower beast form. Marasan, you know it's Toku Toy Town. If we're known for one thing, it's glitter. Ooh. So we got this amazing Marasan 450.
Oh my god, it's
Bailanté glitter with the blue rose. Little the little glitter teeth in there. It's going to be hard to see on here, but this thing is super impressive. You've probably seen the red variant with the red rose. This is the blue one. Absolutely adore this piece. It's great sculpt.
That's a show-stopping piece, Jay. Now this is going to be on YouTube, right?
Correct. Yeah, the Kaiju Live channel. I am, like I said, I'm joining their platform. They are so kind. I can't thank them enough. And so it'll be on the Kaiju Live. I almost said the Kaiju Live Yes Have Some channel. The Kaiju Live YouTube channel.
Not yet.
Not right. Are they in the short list to buy? But the Kaiju Live channel on Sunday, May 1st at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to go for 4 hours, 40 auctions. I'm doing 20. They're doing 20. It's a fun show. A great community is built up around those guys. So it's a fun place to go. And just even in the chat, just like, talk kaiju. It reminds me a little bit of like when you guys do Toy Anxiety, and there'll be a lot of people in the chat like engaging with you as the hosts and what you're talking about. But that community's grown so big and they've become friends online. Yeah. There'll be side conversations between people in the chat. It's a lot like that. It's a cool, fun, inclusive place to go buy some badass toys, some sofubi, some X Plus, some Bandai. I'm gonna have stuff across the spectrum, high-end sofubi to wacky 90s CDs. It's gonna be some weird stuff in there. Okay. And I think it might even have like a little coin bank and some other cool stuff. So it's gonna be fun. Kaiju Live, Toku Toy Town. When toy stores collide, it's gonna be really, really super fun. Live auction madness, as AJ's calling it.
I love that. Now, when you do a live auction like that on YouTube, is there anything special you got to sign up for, or is it all just in the chat? We're going to follow the chat as it goes.
We're going to follow the Kaiju Live rules, and I think that's one thing that they've nailed. It's a little extra work for them, but it makes it easier for you as the viewer and the buyer. Is that they'll start the auction. You just put in $20, $50, sure. And at the end, like let's say you win one of these beautiful things, you just email or reach out to them on Instagram, like, hey, I won this, and they send you the invoice with the shipping. And that's it. And it's
dangerous, Jay. This is dangerous. I'm gonna be watching. I'm excited I'm excited. I like watching when you do Pop Shop or when you do these, because first of all, it feels like a podcast without me having to do any work. And also Also, some of these toys, sometimes I've never seen some of these toys. There's the range of kaiju toys out there in sofubi is so wide that I'm learning stuff by watching, your pop shop. So I love it. I'm excited to watch.
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
I'm gonna make some macaroni and cheese or something, or some cookies. I'm gonna camp out. This would be great.
It's gonna be a good time. But thank you, though. So, like I said, not to hijack our show, but it is talking about toys. And
it's your show, man.
But that's all I got.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I want to say just kind of sort of a segue, since you mentioned your Death Jaguar there. Did you see the ones that are being released on Friday?
No, I have not seen those yet.
I don't want to derail anything, but I feel like you should look those. There's like 3 new colorways being released, and there's like a clear, there's like a green one, there's like a yellowish one, and then it's clear, but they put like something inside of the toy.
Okay.
It basically looks like they filled the toy with confetti or something. But Friday they're going to be released. I'm not sure how many of each are going up or any of that, but they just look so good. I mean, that figure looks good already.
Mm-hmm. Is this the Death Jaguar? Or is this not what they're doing for Mondo? The Jet?
No, this is a Death Jaguar figure.
Oh man, I have not seen that, but that that makes me very excited because I love what they do. They've done great. So I'm trying to look it up here. I can't find it, but I'm
trying to pull it up as well. Okay, so yeah, if you're on Instagram, Rocom Toys, they're okay. So there's 4 different ones. There's like a purple clear. There's like a green clear, a yellow, and a blue.
Dude, why are they here? We're sharing this. We gotta let our people see this.
If you can pull those up.
Yes, I'm pulling up right now.
10 a.m. PST on
Look
Friday.
At this. Holy moly.
Look at that toy.
Oh my gosh. The X-ray Death Jag. This isn't fair.
It's not, dude.
That's amazing. Ugh. Look at
the
that.
Green one. The green one kind of looks like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, but I still love it.
Oh, I like that one too.
Yeah, dude. These are all just beautiful toys, man.
They do good stuff.
They do.
Kudos for Mondo for finding and making sure that they got them to do the Jet toy. It's
because you got to think Mondo's like, well, we don't want to do the work. Who's out there doing the work? And these guys already have a beautiful Jet Jaguar sculpt sitting around, basically. So it's like, I'm so happy that they got these guys to make that figure. But man, those Death Jaguars, dude, I don't even. Part of me wants to block my phone away on Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are amazing.
I know that purple one was legit.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
So what else do we got as far as news or releases? Now, I know you wanted to talk about the. I know you wanted to talk about this X Plus Godzilla Ebra figure.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's out there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I mean, and everybody that's listening probably knows about this figure. It's been out, but it was more. I was curious. Did you end up pre-ordering this guy?
Now listen.
Okay, Craig.
I have not pre-ordered this yet, but through Awesome Collector's website, they posted you got 3 weeks. The pre-orders lasting 3 weeks, so I'm probably going to pick it up. It's very expensive. This is a $500 figure, but it's basically 2 figures. It's big. It's beautiful. I said, the moment this was released, and we talked about this, I don't know how long it was, a couple months ago when it was first announced, I said, that toy will be mine. It went for sale on the Shonen Rick website, and, can't really get it through there, but, you sent me this link. I have not pre-ordered it yet, but partially just because I got like 6 other $300 to $500 things on pre-order, and I'm just like, hold on. So, But my plan is to pre-order. My plan is to own that. Did you pick it up?
I did. I went ahead. I got it. I got it from the Shonen Rick site because I was I just got it like a little antsy and nervous if it was going to go on Awesome Collector.
So you got it before it even showed up on Awesome Collector.
I did, and then like the next day it showed up on Awesome Collector, which a much better payment plan option. But I was like, this is one I didn't want to take any chances on, and I got a little trigger happy.
Sure. I get it. It's beautiful, man. What is this Gamera you're showing?
Oh yeah, this was kind of the next one I wanted to show you. I want to get your thoughts on this. So Onraku and Saku, them and Medicom have been just kind of killing it with a lot of these lottery exclusives. We've seen the 68 Godzilla, the 2000 Godzilla. We've seen the 73 Godzilla, which just came out, which was a great one as well. But this Gamera one, look at this guy. I love this. And I think Onraku and Saku's style is not always my favorite for Godzilla, but I think kind of the rounded, chubbier, more full figure type figures.
Yeah.
I think it works for Gamera really well.
Well,
I think this is a sweet figure.
I agree with you, especially because this just looks straight up like the old, their style of sculpting just fits perfectly in what the classic Gamera looked like. Yeah, I love this, man. This is a cool toy.
So this is the lottery exclusive, and I think the lottery will be open until May 10th on the Medicom site.
Okay.
You can fill it out. They ship to the U.S. It's I've won a couple. Personally, I won the 68, which I've shown off on here before. Yeah. I won the. Like I said, is that the only Medicom one I won? I think so. Yeah, but I won a Marathon lottery. That was the other one I won. So anyway, so I was glad I won the 68 because that's one of my favorites. But I will be putting my name in the hat for this one, and hopefully I'll win it.
Got to get it, dude. It's a cool toy. I personally really like most of their Godzillas that I've seen. I like the weird. Yeah. The heads are always so big.
Yeah,
and he's so stubby looking. I like him.
Yeah. So also on the toy front, because there wasn't any major news to where they haven't announced a new Godzilla movie or anything like that. So it's more kind of like just kind of cool releases. And this is another one going back to the Fantasy with 3 Z's toys. This is their new variant of it. So this one won't hurt your eyes as much.
Not as bad. This one's easier to look at. This is more of a cotton candy vibe I'm getting from it.
Agreed.
Still want to eat it.
These guys are coming out in August, and I love it. I mean, I think these are fun, cool sculpts. They're playing with a lot, more of the kind of cute, playful take on Hedorah, which
more drippy looking.
Exactly, which of all the kaiju probably is the least cuddly. But it's cool. I thought this was a neat one that they're not stopping at the first 2 variants that they released, the hot pink one, and I think the other one was it a green one or was it just kind of, no, I think it was just kind of the standard kind of grayish Hedorah looking one. But there's a couple more shots of it there. Oh, and also,
it looks better in this shot than it 100%. Does in that previous shot. The colors look a little deeper to me, and I like that bluish. Yeah.
I love what they did with the back, kind of the back circle pattern there.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is. Also, by the way, I should be yelled at for doing this, but thank you to kaijubattle.net, our go-to source to kind of go through some of this this stuff. They do great work. They're one of the chief resources for all kaiju collecting and just kaiju news in general. So they're great stuff. So that was another one that was kind of cool. I was curious to get your thoughts here. I know you know a lot more about Monster Arts than me, and a lot of people have been clamoring for Monster X figure. And when the Giga Brain releases a new variant, it's always sells out quickly. But I was curious your thoughts on this new Monster Arts figure that's coming out in September.
I mean, I think this is a good looking figure. It looks really great. It's well done. I cannot think of a time that Monster Arts has put out a figure and I said, "Oh, this one doesn't look great." They all look good to me. But it's not something I'm going to buy. It's a pass for me. It's just I'm not trying to buy every Monster Arts figure out there. But that looks great. I think they've done it justice.
I can't stand Monster X. It's one of my least favorite.
I just don't care for it. It looks too I don't know, man. It's just too humanoid for me. It's too
Power Ranger Sentai.
It's too exactly, and that's just and it doesn't look any better when it transforms. It's just not my deal.
100%. I'm right there with you on everything you said, except you do have Monster Arts and I don't. So you're a much better authority on this than I. But it is a pass for me as well. But a lot of people are excited. And then The other one, and this is the kind of the last one I wanted to talk about, was we love glitter, we love Hedera, we love Marasan. Some of the new Superfest exclusives they're going all in, man. These are the 350s, the A-types, sparkle glitters in a lot of different colors. Really, really cool stuff from Marasan. Look at, I mean, these are just, this is one, the only issue I have with some of the stuff they do like this, including my Biogoji line, it's hard to buy one because they display so well together in this myriad of colors.
It's almost like a totally different thing when you got all of them.
It's almost like a set, and it's like you just want to have these repeating.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. I mean, Eiji Kaminaga is like he's the puppet master. He's pulling all the strings here. But I just thought this was a cool one to bring up because I absolutely adore these. These are great. These are wonderful.
Yeah, I adore a Hedora. If I were only getting one of those, I'd get that deep blue one in the middle. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful toy. Yeah. It looks like space and in a galaxy, and it just looks like looking at Hedora's shape, but seeing, you know, galaxy way colors and stars in it just makes me think of H.P. Lovecraft, and I feel like I'll stare at it until I literally lose my mind.
I love it, man. I probably would get the one on the far right, the kind of the green, the sea greeny one, because I don't think I have anything kind of in that color. I think
there's a lot of that blue stuff, but but it just looks good.
Yeah. So that's really kind of it on the toy news. I can't think of anything else because I mean, like I said, we talked about the Ebra piece.
Yeah, I know there was some pictures online of a new Biollante that's coming.
Oh yeah,
and I believe that. Do you remember who that was from? I believe it's the God, I don't want to say it's X Plus, but maybe it's one of the X Plus like offshoots.
Don't remember.
I don't remember. There's some unpainted photos of it, and the one thing I'll say about it is the sculpt doesn't look quite accurate to me, but it almost looks better. You know what I mean? Like it looks great. It's a very.
Do you love that when that happens?
I do. Yeah, it almost looks more. The thing that I noticed about it immediately is the shape of Biollante's neck, the way it comes off of her kind of chin area, her chin, and then and the way it kind of goes up on her back. It was shaped a little different, but it looked more alligator like to me, and I'm like, well, I like that. I like that it looks a little, I don't know. It's a super nitpicky thing, you know, but I don't know how big it's going to be, how much. It was just an unpainted photo, so I know it's coming somewhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that. I know I saw it as well. It is going to bug me now. I gotta see if I can pull that up here. Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes with the unpainted because you get so hyped on the sculpt because you really get to obviously see a much better version of the sculpt, but like the paint jobs on Biollante especially because it needs to be that organic, you know, that really kind of like, I don't know, like you almost that because it is a plant, it's so critical, and you don't want it to be too dark. You can't see the subtle nuances in the sculpt. So I'm excited. The sculpt was great, but I kind of want to wait and see kind of the final picture before, you know, decide if we have to buy it or not.
I found the photos that I sent I found the photos that I sent to you in our chat, but they don't have, you know, they're not watermarked. They don't say who is making the figure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's beautiful. Like every Biollante figure that exists is beautiful. So I don't have anything to say about it. Jay, you want to talk about this fucking movie?
Yeah, you know, we did watch it. It is in the title of the podcast, so we probably should, right? I mean,
Frankenstein Conquers the World. This is a cool title. I remember specifically when I was a kid and my grandpa was like, "Hey, we're about to watch Frankenstein Conquers the World." And I remember just being like, what? He conquers the world? I remember being like, what? And then I was so confused. I remember being a kid. I've seen this movie a few times, but this was the first rewatch I've given it in at least 20 years. At least 20 years. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was annoyed with it. Because Well, because as a child, I think there were kind of two main things. I thought that all Frankensteins should look like the classic Universal monster. That, like, when you're a kid, I was like, that's Frankenstein. And if it doesn't look like that, then it's not Frankenstein. I didn't, that's how my child mind went about it. So I was always like, well, that doesn't look like Frankenstein.
So and then you wrote it off right away.
Yes, I was like, fuck this. And then also I have this weird kind of, if I'm watching a kaiju film and and a kaiju shows up, I'm less interested if the second kaiju is just a human. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like a humanoid figure. I want two monsters. And I mean, sure, Frankenstein's a monster, especially when he's a couple 100 feet tall. Yes. But that's just the way my kid brain worked. I would shut it off and be like, that's fine. Let's go back to Godzilla. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to see more than just Baragon for 3 minutes.
Interesting. So my history with it is not, I did not, there was no family member that sat me down and said, we're going to watch Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Grandpa.
I love it. I dig it, man. No, your family is way cooler. It was one that, I saw in like, in the magazines and things like that, but it wasn't something that was easy to get a hold of, in the late 80s and such when I was kind of getting into kaiju. And when I finally got my bootleg VHS in the early 90s, I watched it and I remember liking it, but it never was one that I put back in, right? It was not a one I rewatched a lot. And I think it probably was a little bit, especially at that age, like you, like I wanted my monsters to be so different and not necessarily over the top, but like monsters, right? Not like humanoids, right?
Right.
And I think that, it was just Baragon, and he was I won't say a minor character by any means, but because the Japanese title is Frankenstein versus Baragon, but you're right. The time that he's on screen is not super long. It's not about him. And so, but I will say, as I've rewatched it over the years, it has grown on me in the sense that I like it for what it is. I think it is, I can look past some of those things that were driving it down as a kid. And I do like certain elements of this, and I don't think there's anything that's bad about it. It's not like a top tier for me.
I agree.
Yeah, I do like it, and but you're right. It's interesting. I know probably the only podcast that talks about this part first, but when you just talk about the two monsters, one being humanoid and one being classic kind of kaiju, it does make you think of like your more tokusatsu TV shows, your henshin shows, where you have Ultraman against the kaiju, a humanoid person, versus a guy in a monster suit. And I'll be honest with you, even though the fight is only at the end, there's not like the opening bout fight that's inconclusive. They come back and Godzilla finally wins. It's I thought the fight itself was actually choreographed and better than a lot of the Ultraman versus insert kaiju of the week here. I thought some of the stuff was pretty cool. I thought they played with that a lot, and throwing the trees and things like that. And I thought Baragon, Nakajima actually, he was in the suit for Baragon, as a four-legged creature for the most part, was a really well done fight scene. And I actually think that's one of the highlights of the movie, is though it's short. And I told you a small part of the movie at the very end, I thought the actual fight scene with those two was really entertaining and really fun.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree with any of that. It's definitely what I found myself just waiting for the whole, like when I gave this a rewatch, I was like, dude, where's Baragon? I want to watch this. And I like that you get a couple little teases of Baragon here. It's like, oh, he's like sneaking around, look through the cracks in the earth. But the fight scene is definitely part of the movie. I also liked and I wish it was a longer sequence when Frankenstein just shows up in the water and he's kind of like he sort of attacks the boat, but doesn't. He kind of leaves it alone.
Yeah.
When I was giving this a rewatch and it popped up, I'm like, oh yeah, the boat scene. But then I was like, oh, okay, do something. Like, do something to the boat. He just looks at it basically and goes away. But yeah, dude, this movie's fine. Like, I put it like kind of middle of the road for me. Like, it's not something I'm jumping to rewatch. It's not something that I would ever say. Like, just the premise alone is enough to be like, yeah, it's cool. It's about a giant Frankenstein. Like, that's cool. And my weird like aversion as a child to wanting to see humanoid figures, that's gone now. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it more, and I feel like I understand the absurdity of it a little more now than I did as a kid. That it's just like, you know, heart opens, like it's just a heart in a box that somehow it never dies, and it's you know, it gets exposed to radiation, but then when it somehow grows from a heart just to a fully formed Frankenstein. But one of the funniest things is that when he starts to grow, somebody's like, oh, is it because of the radiation? And they're like, no, he's just getting a lot of protein. I was like, what? They're like, he's getting a good protein intake. And
because radiation doesn't affect him. I mean, that's
I was like, hold on. It's just he's eating enough protein. He's eating enough dogs. That he's growing. That line, and there was one other line that is so funny to me, and you might know what it is, but they're talking about the way he looks in the very beginning, and they say the line, he's distinctly Caucasian. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, he's not. Hey, why didn't you get the one Caucasian in the film to play Frankenstein if that's what you're gonna do? Like,
Nick Adams weird. Like, screw that. Nick Adams is like, he has his like martini in one hand. He's like, I'm gonna go hang out with Elvis. You know, no.
That line is so funny, and I'm like, hey, he's distinctly not Caucasian.
Not Nick Adams is never playing Frankenstein. In fact, he probably had in his contract like he has to be Kumi Mizuno's love interest because it's like him in Invasion of Astro Monster.
Oh well, who would? Jesus Christ! She's awesome in this movie, and I love that it's like familiar faces all over the place.
Tadao Takashima,
Honda directed. Like, it's just like it's got some of the exact same music from some Godzilla films in it. Same, you know, it's all you got. So many of the same crew, and I have learned, you know, when I was a kid, you don't notice that kind of stuff as much, but I love that. Any of these movies, I go back and rewatch, and I'm like, oh shit, well, look who's in it. So
the crazy thing that you have Takashi Shimura, you know, the guy that played Dr. Yamane, he's he's the doctor in like the back when they were getting it from the Nazis, the heart, and when he gets blown up in the Hiroshima, and I'm like, wow, that was one of the great actors in early Japanese cinema. Just he used him for like 5 minutes.
But no, right in the beginning, just get rid of it.
Yoshia Tsuchiya's in it and stuff. It's a great cast, and I think a lot of the production parts were well done. Like things like the actors they chose. You know, I think Honda does an admirable job. You know, Tsuburaya does this one as well. So the special effects are, you know, classic Toho. Like
good great miniature work and everything. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, agreed. And I thought it was for the most part kind of like as silly as the premise is, well acted. But one of the questions, speaking kind of on that front of like the story part of it, you as somebody that is a connoisseur of horror, you know, we talked about this when we watched and reviewed Matango. Somebody that, you know, your chops, you have legit horror chops from Universal to, you know, the most indie, you know, underground gore fest that's happening now. Like, you know, like, so somebody that, you know, now, like, knowing Universal, knowing Frankenstein, like, how does the story, this, to me, a very unique adaptation of Frankenstein. I don't know if adaptation is the right word, but like, it is unique and original how to make Frankenstein work here. I was just curious, what were your initial thoughts on just that part of it? Like, was it intriguing to you as a horror fan?
Yeah, well, 100%, because it's so different. I think it's maybe the only Frankenstein story that I am aware of where there's no Dr. Frankenstein really, and there's not really somebody who's it's just a heart in a box.
Yeah.
Next time you see it, it's just grown into a and they're like throwing the word Frankenstein around as if like
it just exists in the world.
Yeah, they're using it as if there's multiple Frankensteins. It's like, oh, he made a Frankenstein, and I'm like, what? It's like, it's totally different, and sometimes it gets sometimes you just get tired of seeing the same Dr. Frankenstein type story over and over. And I mean, there's a million of those films and a million of them are great, but it still is like just variations on the same thing. This was almost like a Frankenstein in name only kind of thing. But that's not a bad thing. I thought it was fine. I liked that aspect of it, especially like first 5 minutes of this movie, there's no dialogue. You're just watching just watching a war happen, and and there's a case, and you're like, oh, someone said, like the first line of dialogue is like, "Hey, what's in that case?" You know, and when they open it, there's just a heart floating in there. I was like, "This is cool. This is awesome. I don't know. This is different, and I don't care. It's just cool." So
I actually thought that even more than like making Frankenstein a giant monster and having him fight, a subterranean dinosaur. I thought the coolest part was like, like the Dr. Frankenstein in the creation of Frankenstein's monster is just a known entity in this world, but it happened a long time ago. And it just, we keep on getting the heart never dies. And there's these new Frankensteins that dies. And then we open up with it X amount of years later during World War II with, what was the doctor's name in this one? The at the beginning, Friesendorf, something like that.
Something German
and like
sounding,
and he has it now, and it's like, here's the heart. Like this is the one that's been multiple monsters and never dies. Like I think that's cool that this could be like the 12th Frankenstein. Who knows? Well, like
cool. It feels like they do that so they open themselves up for prequels or sequels, and I mean they even say it in the. Is it in both endings, or was it just in the alternate ending where they're like, he's never gonna? I
think it's in both. Yeah, I think
is it in both? Yeah. So it's like it feels like they wanted to set it up for more, but I think probably one of my favorite things about Toho films or these old kaiju films, just in general, is how back before it was cool to have shared universes. Like, I know sometimes it was just because they had the suits laying around, but it's the fact that this is Baragon's first, he just showed, this is he's kind of the villain in this.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird because that is not a design to me that lends itself to being the villain creature. But it's just cool to me that Baragon's in this. It's his first thing. I think the next time he shows up is Destroy All Monsters, right? A couple of years later. So I love that. I love those weird little offshoots of a much bigger universe of films, and the fact that like, but you can just be like, yeah, I guess Frankenstein is canon to the Godzilla universe. Really, like Godzilla could have fought Frankenstein.
Well, he almost did. The so like as the story goes, the original plan was I think was it the short story that they took that Toho was interested in was like King Kong versus Prometheus, and they were going to do they were going to do, eventually it ended up being King Kong versus Godzilla, and then they tried again and to do King Kong versus Frankenstein, and it turned out to be, they didn't like the logistics, it turned out to be King Kong versus Mothra, and eventually it ends up being they create a secondary character, Baragon, to fight Frankenstein. So I know it'd been in the works for a while, but like there was definitely talks to do Godzilla versus Frankenstein or Frankenstein versus Godzilla. At that time, when they were talking about it, Godzilla was still very much the villain. He had fought
right.
King Kong,
well, it was only this year. This came out in '65, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're talking less, 10 years or so since the original film. So
yeah, I mean, and that, obviously when they were talking about the production would have been in that wheelhouse of, 61, 62, 63, whatever, when they would have, potentially made the movie. And, in 65, that's when we get Ghidra 300 Monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, and those things where he starts turning into, less of a direct villain and more of force of nature, and then eventually superhero when we get into the late 60s and 70s. But it could have been cool. I mean, Godzilla versus his Frankenstein. But speaking of Baragon and the creature, because I agree, it's like I think of Baragon, I want to hug it, right? I mean, he's like the perfect monster that could be cute. Like in small form. Like could be a great little TV sitcom, like My Pet Baragon. It'd be amazing.
Oh my god, I want
it. But I was curious. Like I will give them credit for this. I think they tried to make him menacing. The scene with the horse him just like reaching out and eating the horse and stuff. Like I was like, okay, this is Devil Baragon, you know, but
it is. He's a little uglier in this than he became to be. You know, I think most people I know, you know, Destroy All Monsters is probably everybody's favorite out of his films, but I think a lot of people, I mean, his best design is GMK, like that Baragon. And that Baragon, I literally want to like hold in my arms. Like he's the cutest 100%. Kaiju I've ever seen. So that's what you think of when you think of Baragon, really. Yeah. And he's a little ugly in this. He's got like a beam. They gave him, you know, he's got like some firepower and whatever. He's like a big armadillo kind of.
Yeah, he's not
he's not an Ankylosaurus. Like
wasn't as much bad dino science here. They didn't try to explain what
they don't at all. I love that when he shows up, like towards the end when he's getting ready to fight, they're standing there with kind of like the military, and they're like, "Oh no, there's a second monster," and they're like, "What?" Yeah. Everybody's like, "There's just been a second monster. Nobody knows about it." It's so funny.
Yeah, I think that the issues, I won't call them bad, but like the areas of improvement, like for me, for this film, were a lot of the big important plot points, like you said, the second monster, and that, you know, I know they try to do the scene where Baragon destroys the village, but they think it's Frankenstein thing. A lot of those big kind of crucial turning points, I felt they didn't spend enough time on it and like to make it like oh my gosh, it was just kind of like almost an exposition. You know, the character that Yoshia Tsuchiya plays, Kawai or whatever. He's the one that like was there with the heart and you know, like they like kind of dismiss him when he tries to call the folks, the news reporters and everything, and like then it just kind of gets dropped. It's like I don't know, I just felt there was like a lot of like either hastily turned plot points or like some loose ends that could have been fleshed out a little bit more and make it maybe a little bit more kind of fulfilling movie. To get to the point, but. You know, it's not like it was a bad thing. It just was. It could have been better.
It's just clunky. I think it's clunky. There's some time jump in the beginning that is all handled in a weird. You know, they jump a couple years. Like it happens like 3 times in the first like 15 minutes. You're like, oh, now it's a year, and it's like, and that I think is all sort of. It's just clunky, and you could definitely. There's definitely King Kong. Now that you said King Kong Prometheus thing, there's definitely some King Kong vibes in it because Frankenstein grows up, but he's like the good guy. And, you know, he saves him out of the road and tells him to go ahead. You know, he's communicating with the humans. He like looks at him and he gives him that head nod, like get out of here while I go fight the monster. And I liked it, man. Hey, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that alternate ending.
Oh, yes.
Because it's batshit insane. It's the same. It's weird to me. It's the exact same. It feels like that ending was, okay, we got to have both monsters get kind of taken out somehow.
Yeah.
And maybe the part where they just, you know, in the ending that you get where they just fall into the earth makes the most sense, right?
Yeah.
There's earthquakes. They both fall into the earth. Who knows?
Love it. Yeah.
Makes the most sense. It's simple. Having Frankenstein throw Baragon into a hole in the ground, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's a giant octopus, a very large giant octopus
that doesn't need water.
Just doesn't need water. It comes out and it wrestles Frankenstein into the ocean.
Yeah,
and then that's it. And I'm like, what did they need that octopus for? It's so weird.
Yeah. So I heard, and this is like, you know, what if you do a little research, you find out like, you know, Henry Saperstein and those guys were so like enamored with the octopus work in King Kong versus Godzilla. You know, where Kong fights the real octopus, and that
they use the same sound effects for it.
Yeah, and they wanted that to be redone, and Tsuburaya and them basically shot a lot of different endings, and one of them was with that big octopus, and it makes no sense. It's like there's no rhyme or reason for it. They say they chose not to use it because they didn't like how it turned out. I thought it actually looked good. I mean, for a non-real octopus, I thought they did as good as you're going to do. I mean, talk about an animal that's going to be hard to manipulate.
Yeah, I mean, It makes no sense. It's out of nowhere, but I wish that was the regular ending because it's so insane. Because it's so weird. If I was watching that film for the first time and I got to the end and I'm like, wow, it's over. He defeated Baragon. And then a fucking octopus is like, you're coming with me. I would have been like, what the fuck is that? I kind of loved that ending. Had never seen it before. Had never heard of it. Didn't know that existed.
And it's just weird because it's like you have a storyline that is heavy on Frankenstein and Baragon's built up as the villain. Okay, it happens. And then, if there was another, like, to me, like, if there was going to be a surprise monster, it's like Mama Baragon, a bigger Baragon that also lives in this subterranean world. Why does an octopus
that makes the most sense?
Which adds to the wackiness of it. And then it kicks Frankenstein's ass. It just beats his ass.
He's the good guy, made it through the whole film, and that octopus is like, fuck you, dude. You're coming to the depths of the ocean with me. It was clearly just a quick, like, okay, we got Baragon out of here. We gotta Frankenstein's gotta go too somehow. We'll drag him into the ocean. Like that, you know what I mean? That's it. So,
and I thought the ending was, to your point, I thought it was successful without it because it was, he kills Baragon, and it's like, yay, he wins. Frankenstein is the champion.
He literally waves at the humans and falls into the hole while waving at them. And then there's a nice little, it's very, very short, but there's just a couple lines of dialogue where they're just like, well, maybe he'll come back one day. It's like the ending of every Godzilla film where they're like, he's a part of the world now. Just so.
We need to go back in time and have Raymond Burr do the voiceover for that as well, like he did. just have him go back in time and do that. Yeah, I agree. Somebody should dub that over, or that him falling in there. It's the Raymond Burr dialogue. So one thing actually on that, speaking kind of Frankenstein and waving to the humans, like he's the good guy, he wins. One other thing that I think they failed at is I never fully buy into Frankenstein as the protagonist, right? Because to me, if you eat dogs, you're done, man.
That's
you're done. So I could never love him because he ate too many dogs. Even though I know he has to stay alive, eat rabbits, that's fine. But he ate too many dogs. So I can never buy into it. So I was kind of rooting for Baragon until he eats up all farm animals.
A lot of dog eating. Yeah, a lot of dog eating happening. I'm always going to root for Baragon just because he's a kaiju. You know what I mean? He's more classic kaiju to me. And I just like that aesthetic better. But this movie's cool, man. I like that. I just like that it exists.
Agreed.
I had mentioned to Jess what our episode was going to be. And when I said, oh, we're going to be talking about Frankenstein Conquers the World. It's about giant kaiju-sized Frankenstein fighting Baragon. She literally was like, what the fuck? How does that exist? And that's what I love about this. It's like, it's so weird. The premise of this movie is so fucking weird. And that kind of carries me through it. So it's not, like you said, man, it's not something I'm going to put on a bunch of rewatches. Will I get on eBay tonight and see what kind of toys are out there? 100%. See what kind of. I know there's some Frankensteins out there. I've seen some. So
they're good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know we're only an hour into this episode, but I don't know if there's much else to say about Frankenstein Conquers the World. What do you got?
Well, I think we talked about a lot of it. I mean, I think the last thing we have to end on is, so then we know that this does have a sequel in War of the Gargantuas, and we eventually, I don't know if it's next week or next show or the one after that or whenever, but we got to talk about that because unlike Frankenstein Conquers the World when I was younger, like I said, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't love it. I actually, when I was younger, and I won't spoil what I think of it now, I did not like War of the Gargantuas at all. To me, it was my least favorite Toho monster movie growing up. And so it'll be fun to revisit it again. I have watched it a few times since then, so I won't spoil it, but I just love how it is one of those also it's a sequel, you get the hand again, they're born from Frankenstein, but it's just, it's not something that's you don't see Frankenstein and Baragon again. So it's really cool that they kind of built a sequel that's its own thing. So it's kind of neat.
I haven't rewatched this movie in a while either, but I will say that I enjoyed this movie as a kid. I liked it. It was one that I gave repeat viewings to. We'll see what I think of it. Hey, we'll do it next week. We'll go ahead and say it. We'll do this next week.
Last bit, I almost forgot this. When you talk about cool titles and Frankenstein Conquers the World, you talk about the octopus ending.
Yeah.
The title of this, when it was in production, was Frankenstein versus the Giant Devilfish. Now that's a movie that I want to make. I want to see made. Yeah. I don't want to make it. I want somebody else to make it. I want to watch.
I want to see a giant devilfish.
Or octopus. Frankenstein versus Godzilla. Yes.
I would have been really annoyed if it was called versus the giant devilfish and it was just the octopus. Like that would annoy me. It would need to be something cooler than that for me to go along with it.
Yeah, because then I hate when like if it's just a normal animal but it gets a different name. Like no. If it's an octopus, it's a giant octopus.
When I was a kid and I saw that Godzilla versus the Thing poster and it has all the tentacles and all that shit, and then I was like, "What movie is this?" And then I just found out it was a fucking moth. I was mad. I was annoyed at that.
The greatest movie ever, so it's good.
But it's amazing, so I gotta pass.
Yes. But yeah, that's Frankenstein Conquers the World, everybody.
Yeah, that's it, man. We did it. Listen, I'm very sorry that we didn't have better toy pickups this week. What do you want me to do? Yeah, dude, I think we did it, man. I'm hoping we'll have some more news to talk about next week. We'll have some more toys. I know we're gonna have some toys.
Oh, for sure.
I can't promise that I won't just buy something on Sunday during the auction. But I think we did it. Yeah. Frankenstein Conquers the World. I would say seek this movie out and watch it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I would recommend watching this for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And then the other thing before we go, I do want you to, I'm going to make you say something here. I'm going to make you talk about something here.
Oh no.
Is for those that like us have had lighter pickup weeks and they might have a couple bucks in their wallet, in their bank account, for $5 a month, man, for as low as $5 a month, you can become part of the YHS Patreon community. And Jake, what can they get on YHS Patreon?
Boy, what can't you get? Listen, so if you're unaware, this show is a part of a larger network. It's the Yes Have Some network. We have a show that comes out every Monday. Yes Have Some podcast. We talk about movies, Ghostbusters, whatever we're watching, toys, whatever. And then on Tuesdays, we have a live toy show, 9:30 on YouTube, YHS Toy Anxiety. And we also have a Patreon. And the Patreon, it has, so the regular YHS episodes, you get those ad-free and you get them a couple days early. There is a Discord that's specifically for...
Super fun.
Yeah, the Discord's great. There's a Patreon exclusive Instagram page. We have Zoom hangs on the weekends, once or twice a month. There is a $10 tier where you get an extra episode. There is a $30 tier that has merchandise once every few months.
Cool.
We'll put out special stuff. We released so this last year, our Halloween episode that we did, we recorded it onto cassette tapes, and the only way you could get it was if you were a Patreon member. And one side of the cassette tape was our Halloween episode, and the other side of the cassette tape had an original horror story read by Abigail Gardner. It had a fake theme park advertisement read by Dan Aykroyd, but actually Craig Goldberg. And it also had an excerpt of Stephen King's It, read by and produced by me. And there's a lot of stuff on there. There's random episodes. There'll be videos. I do a lot of Stephen King episodes where I'll either review a book or story that I read or a movie, or I'll just read, pieces of his books that I find to be interesting. There's a lot of stuff on that Patreon. $5 a month. Yeah, jump on there. It's worth it. There's going to be more kaiju type stuff on there as well. It's ridiculous. It honestly, it's too cheap. Probably. I don't
I love it.
$5. It's probably not enough. But yeah, check it out. Join. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff for $5. So
yeah, my challenge for you listeners is join. And let's get on one of those Zoom hangs where they're all there's 20 people on there. Everybody's talking to Craig and Jake and Abby, and they're all talking Ghostbusters, maybe Star Wars, maybe Marvel. Let's get on there and let's force them. like I sit there and listen to all that Ghostbusters talk. And let's start talking kaiju. No, I love Ghostbusters, but let's talk kaiju. Let's talk, Gamera. Let's talk Yamato Takaru. Let's talk everything, and let's take over the Zoom hang with YHS with you, Monster Island patrons. Come on, let's join it. It's going to be awesome. It's only $5, man. It's cheap.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. Thank you guys for listening. Please, if you're still listening, leave those reviews, the 5-star review. Let us know if you like this or if you hate it. If you hate it, just shut up. But, that's it, man. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.